This is one of the most important lessons that I've ever given. And you'll learn a lot about my personal journey. People that have asked me, how did you become so successful in life? Those that make it to the end of this video, you will be very successful in life. Never take advice from normies. Never take advice from soulless NPCs. If you're new to the channel, I'm Michael. I discuss ascension, psychology, and quantum shifting, and I make the lessons relevant for everyday life people. The number one saboteur of your life is the herd of NPCs. And on your journey at pivotal points in your life, not every day is the same. Not every decision that we make has equal emphasis on the outcome of our life. You will witness people, the normies of the world, the NPCs that will pop up out of nowhere and try to give you advice. A lot of these people, they don't care about you, but what they want, they're actually part of the matrix, and they want you to comply with the herd. They want you not to think an original thought. They don't want you to do anything that will really raise your frequency or shift your timeline. Shifting the timeline to a different blend of possibilities. And, on my journey, there were many times in my life where certain NPCs would pop up out of nowhere and they tried to give me advice. And at these pivotal moments, I became successful in life because I never took advice from these NPCs, from the normies of the world. Because these people that pop up that, they want to give you advice. They say, I have your best interest in mind. They don't. They're actually part of the matrix. And if you maybe fall for the fear, at any one of these points, I discuss quantum shifting and timelines, and they're a real thing. And those that know my journey very well, and you might be seeing me for the first time, you're going to learn a lot from this lesson as I share from my personal journey. And you utilize these examples that you say, if you've been listening to me or, maybe you're here for the first time, wow, this man would not be in a position that he's in life if he ever stopped, if he ever listened to any one of the normies that try to get in his head, try to get in your head on your journey. You could even stop right now, right? Think about it. Do you have an important decision to make? It might go, outside of the mainstream norm, and it's going to, differentiate yourself versus the herd. And it's very important to go on this journey. I went on a journey. Carl Jung calls it the process of individuation. The NPCs, the normies, are actually part of the matrix, and they're designed to keep you at a certain frequency. They will pop up to give you advice. And maybe every step that is very pivotal in your life, they're going to pop up. And I had to make very big decisions. I made these decisions from my heart, my soul. My soul was crying out for something more. I went to the university, and it was very important that I went to the university. It shaped me. And as I go through this, you're going to realize that in the long game of your life, you have to go on a journey and you have to make decisions. And we are literally going through quantum shifts where you have to have an experience. It doesn't mean that's your end game, but you wouldn't be later in life where you were if you didn't take all these steps. So I went to the university, and my bachelor's, I studied business, but it didn't serve my soul. I wanted to be a teacher. I had a lot of older friends. I was in my 20s. All my friends were like 10 years older than me, right? I was beyond my time. And I really wanted to teach, and I wanted to get into education. And a lot of, you got to do the business, you make the money. What are you going to be a teacher for? And I was always a beach guy, and some of my buddies, they were off in the summer. And I said, but I had this drive, to be a teacher. And I didn't even bother, even though I graduated with the business degree, I went straight into becoming a substitute teacher, and I went straight for my master's degree in education. And, people will say, nah, don't do that. You gotta be in the business field. You gotta make the money. You just got this degree, now you're going to do something else. And it was part of my journey. And in the long run, it was very important. I went to St. John's University. And when you go to the Catholic university, I had to take theology and psychology courses. And, back when I was, 20, I say, well, what do I have to take this for? But later in life, these things that I learned were very pivotal and molded me, And so at first glance, you might think, what am I going to do with theology? Thinking that you go there for business. But it played a role in my journey. And I went into education. And then I was I was a man that was driven by health and wellness. I wanted to improve myself. And I was always part of the gym. A lot of you know my journey. And, I'm not one of these people that take a lot of stuff to get really big, But I wanted to do a bodybuilding competition, and everyone told me, don't do that. You're not big enough. These guys, you got to get really big, and then they diet down 40 pounds and all. You can't do it like that. You can't do it like that. And a lot of these people try to talk me out of maybe getting into bodybuilding. And for my journey, I could sit back and, it wasn't about the middleweight championship that I won, but it was the discipline that I learned, and to prove to people, right? Because I always was a superhero on the inside. And in my head, I'd understand these things when I was younger. I said, I got to take what's inside of me and bring it on the outside. Maybe there's a person that's hearing this and you resonate with that. I said, I knew my innate strength, the superhero that was inside. I said, I wanted to bring it on the outside. And it was a great honor and a lot of people to shut up the doubters and come home with the middleweight championship. And, not to be the biggest person in the world. And it doesn't resonate with me now. I feel like that aspect is loaded with egos and it's just narcissism. But for me, I had to do it because it gave me the discipline. A lot of people can't eat grilled chicken and sweet potatoes for 12 weeks straight every meal and do the diet. But it shaped me, and I needed to take that journey, and I needed to learn. I learned a lot from that experience. And even though people try to talk me out of it, I did it anyway. At the end of my teaching career, people told me, don't leave. I had a very big decision to make, Light Warriors. I had a very big decision to make. And they said, don't leave, take that shot and stay with us. Stay with us. You'll regret it if you don't stay. And, my soul was crying out for more. I said, I'm here. This system is corrupted. And, all these people, because they didn't want to do it, they said, you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. Take this shot. Stay here with us. You'll regret it. And I said, my soul said, nah, I don't need the system. I need to go out and I need to become who I am, which is the greatest teacher of them all. And I built a legacy, and I just keep going. So in life, when you have these decisions, the NPCs are going to give you advice because they say, I got your best interest in mind. I got your best interest in mind. But if I didn't take these steps in life and I was able to leave my hometown and now I live in paradise. For me, it's my peaceful paradise. I didn't need the fancy condo in Miami and all this other stuff. But for me, I live in paradise. I built my peace. I built my structure. I live with health and wellness, right? I studied education. And I went on a journey. And every part of the way, when my soul was crying out for more, certain NPCs, they want to give you advice. We know what's best for you. No, you don't. Any person that's hearing this message tonight, it's really one of the most important lessons I've ever given. Never take advice from normies. Never take advice from NPCs, because at any time, if I would have listened to any of them and I lived in fear, I would have not quantum shifted timelines. I would not have had the enriched life that I have, and all the lessons that I've learned, the people and the accomplishments that I've had. Never listen to normies. Never listen to soulless NPCs. They're just part of the matrix, and they're there to stop you, because at any time I could have stopped and I would have missed the timeline. And this happens in many aspects in life. If you want to be a successful man, it's important. The NPCs will always attack the woman when it comes to love. Oh yeah. You know, a woman, if she lives in a peaceful surrounding where her nervous system is nice and calm and safe, they want you to live in dysfunction. And you're going to see this, ladies. Let me talk to my divine feminine now. You know, when you go out in the world, you're going to have these people that pop up. And I've given this advice before. Never tell your friends, your fake friends, about the man that you love, about the man that you're interested in, because they will pop up with this advice and they will scare you. They will scare you away. Oh, stay away from that man. Oh, you know, we just care about you. How many women have experienced that? This is part of the matrix. It's part of the NPCs. And this is how they attack the divine feminine, and they cut her off. And you will be talked out of it. A lot of times this comes from, you know, come from your loser friends in the school, your loser friends in a locker room, your loser friends around the water cooler. These NPCs, and a lot of people have seen this behavior across the world. They always attack the woman, and and because the woman, you know, there's a lot of fear, and they'll talk you out of that relationship, and you will never birth the timeline, right? With you have in front of you a love, a companion, but these people, oh, you know, we just care about you. We just want to give you advice. And I've seen this. This comes in many forms. You know, I remember a situation. There was a girl, and she was trying the best that she could. I know she was trying the best that she could. And, you know, she had a sabatour in her life. She had a miserable sister. And her sister, you know, because she was in a relationship of dysfunction, right? Drugs, alcohol, right? Miserable. She put the fear, and she put that fear into her sister, and say, yeah, you know, you got to have a thing like me. You have to do it like me. How many women that are tuned into this? Maybe you dealt with this with a sister or maybe a friend, right? And because of the misery that's inside of them, right? Look at me, you know, I popped out this kid out of wedlock. The drugs, the alcohol, the reason why the pus, the filth is there, it's about dysfunction. Let me talk to my divine feminine. You know, there's a lot of women in this world, and misery loves company. These women, they're not there for you. They're NPCs of the world, and they're filth, and they want dysfunction because they live in dysfunction, ladies. My divine feminine, they want you to live in dysfunction. You might have a man, you might have an opportunity. You might have an opportunity where you could build, where your nervous system will be safe, but they want you to go to dysfunction. And I'm here to tell you, you could be the divine feminine, but at the end of the day, it's your free will. It's your free will choice. And that's how you allow a soulless NPC. That's how you allow a normie, a Heilig, to throw you off your timeline, and you miss out on the timeline. On my journey, I'm responsible for myself, and I've seen this, you know, I've seen this across the board. That's why I'm successful for everything that I'm in control of. But I'm here to tell my divine masculine, okay? You need a strong woman, not a woman that could be manipulated. They cannot be manipulated by the NPCs, the people that try to come up and give you advice. This is part of the system. It is part of the matrix. Be like me. They don't care about you. And you have to lead with strength. I needed strength because people popped up with quote unquote advice to stop me from stopping me from having these experiences, for switching up, going with my soul. When you're operating out of their soul, which is the heart, you trigger these NPCs to pop up, and they will present themselves by giving you advice. This is part of the matrix. And when you understand this tonight, these NPCs are the number one saboteur of your life. If this resonates with you at a very deep level, why don't you smash the like button and leave a comment down below? You know, a lot of the truth about reality has been hidden from us. And when you understand that these NPCs that pop up, it tricks you, it guides you, because ultimately you make your own free will decisions and choices in life. And if you have any, you're on the cusp of this, well, this was hidden from you, because the truth about the world, and they didn't use the terms of the Matrix, but this was depicted in the Apocryphon of John. We live in a matrix, ladies and gentlemen. And the matrix is designed to stop you. I never stopped. I just kept going. And that's how I became successful in life. What you see today is the result. And I have 3 of my pillars. I'm not responsible for anyone else outside of myself. But what I can do, right, is try to encourage our women, right? They will always attack the woman when it comes to this. You have to be strong. You can't listen to the NPCs. You can't listen to the normies. Never take advice from NPCs. Oh, all of a sudden they care about you. They don't care about you. It's part of the matrix. It's part of the system. I've lived an enriched life, and it was only because I had the inexhaustible belief in myself for every one of those pivotal moments, and I stayed connected to God. I never bowed down to anyone. I never went with fear. I kind of walked to the beat of my own drum. People resonate with it. Normies might not resonate with this, but this message is to inspire you. This channel is to raise up, right? Raise up light warriors. So if it really resonates, click the subscribe button. We do this daily at 9 a.m. Eastern, and we're going to become the greatest version of ourselves. But I'm here to tell you, the number one saboteur in your life are the NPCs that pop up, and they trick you into your own free will decisions, and you miss out. At any one of those junctures that I shared tonight, if I missed any one of them, I would have not been where I am today. People can miss out on opportunities of the lifetime because of this. This really is the number one saboteur. It's my honor to present this information to the world, and I'm so grateful for those that resonate. Hit the like button, share the video. Everyone share the video. Leave your comments down below, okay? Are you experiencing all these people? All of a sudden, they want to give me advice? Did you notice this? Oh, you got to keep your eyes peeled. And on my journey, this is, that's why God let me be a front runner to go through this stumbling. And I would say the number one saboteur in life are the NPCs. So break free of this. I hope this message inspires you to live your everyday life. I am the defender of our everyday lives, no matter what comes your way. Even when the NPCs open their mouth, just keep going. I love you guys very much.